What is going on today? Walks of Wisdom Wednesday out here, beautiful. I got a sweatshirt on, but I'm just kind of in between where you can wear one or not depending on how you feel. So out here enjoying some beautiful weather. Hopefully you're getting out and getting on your own walk today. But today I do want to talk to you about a topic that comes up very consistently in the entrepreneurial world, especially, and that is, when should I quit my 9-to-5 job to pursue my passion full time? Now, there is no straight answer for this. I'm going to break down several things for you today that are going to go fairly deep into how you consider making this decision if this ever, becomes something in front of you, and hopefully give you some educated ways to really, make a decision based on what is actually best for you. So, number one, this talk is already deep just in the topic itself. This means that you are already working a job, okay? If you don't already have a job, this probably doesn't really make all that much sense for you to listen to. But if you've already got a job and you have looked at that job and you said, hey, this is not everything that I think I'm capable of, and you have taken that extra step to go out and find something that you enjoy doing and that you love in the world, and have turned it into something that you can actually monetize that passion. And now you are at a point in your world where you're saying, when do I make the decision to choose the side thing over the main thing and make my side thing my main thing, right? And so if that sounds like you, with as complicated as that sounds, if you're working a full-time job and you're trying to do something on the side and you're asking yourself the question of, when do I leave my full-time job to go over and pursue my passion full-time? That's what we're going to discuss here. So this takes several pieces of consideration, first of all. In a lot of different sakes. So we're going to look at the typical 9-to-5 because that's a lot more structured and commonplace, where the side hustle thing is very varied. There's a lot of different inflections that come in and out of what comes as a side business, whether it's a small business, a large business, solo project, you got a team. There's all kinds of factors that change that. So we're going to start with the one that's a little more universal. This is, sort of the employee situation where, you go and you clock in and you make a certain amount of time for your, certain amount of dollars for your time. That's usually what it comes down to, is trading time for dollars. And within that, you work for somebody else. They make your schedule. They tell you what it is that you're supposed to do. They tell you what your time is worth. You only get paid so much for the time that you're there. And there is a structure built around that. Now, the fact that you give up a lot of choice comes with the lack of responsibility to have to make decisions, right? And with a lot of that responsibility taken away from you, that's put on somebody else that has said, hey, I'm going to take this hard road and make these decisions for you. And in exchange of you following my path of decision making, I'm going to compensate you by paying you for the time that you are exchanging in working for this company, right? And that's the typical employee path, is somebody else has taken all the risk, putting themselves in all the uncomfortable decision making steps, living without the structure or the guarantee, so that they can do all the things that is necessary to put a business structure together, and then they need people there to help them implement. And so that employee situation is an implementer. Somebody else has the idea, I help them do the thing. And along with that is some comforts. And I don't want to say guarantees, but they're reliables. And that's what is very important in this talk, is that with that employee situation, while you work there, as long as nothing disrupts you working for this company, you get to rely on trading your time for more dollars. If I clock in and I'm here for this much time, I get X amount of dollars. And this is a very big deal for people who are not very risk adverse, okay? If you go into a casino, you know, there's kind of two sorts of people. Some just want to throw all their money down and see if I can double it and, you know, be rich instantly, and other people like, I'm not spending $1 because I could lose it. I don't want to risk it, okay? So if you're that second class where you're not that risky, you're not very risk adverse, you want to know what's happening, you want that comfort, stability in your life, the employment route is something that provides that feeling for you, because you know if you go to work every single day and you clock in and you put your time in, they're going to give you a paycheck at the end of the week or the end of the 2-week period or whatever it may be, right? And so this creates this comfort zone of financial stability. If that job pays you enough for the time that you're putting in to cover the bills, to cover the requirements of rent or a mortgage and cars and food and all of the stuff that we need just to kind of get by in our day-to-day, then it takes a lot of that stress away mentally of how my life is going and what is it going to look like and all of those sorts of things. We want those kind of emotional guarantees, right? And that's a lot more guaranteed when you're trading time for dollars from somebody else, because they're not just saying this for you, they're saying it for a whole bunch of people. And obviously there were people there before you, so you're not the first employee, so you're, you know, in a situation that has proven to return that expectation. Now, there's also some other things that go with the employee situation. You know, we talk about benefits. Maybe it's paid time off, maybe it's medical and life insurance, maybe there's, you know, holidays that you get paid for, Christmas bonuses. There's all kinds of things that go into extra perks of working for somebody else and them really trying to take care of your, you know, immediate needs and some extra cool stuff depending on the company you work for. So the company I work for is fantastic. They're really good with that. But there's also other things that go into it when you consider situations like taxes or credit. So when you go to borrow things, for example, they want to know how much money do you make, how long have you been doing what you do, what do you do, where do you work, all kinds of situations related to employment. So if you go to purchase a house, for example, they want you to have at least 2 years experience in the field that you're currently working in, 2 consecutive years of employment, not experience, employment, to qualify for a loan. But if you are, say, a 1099 contractor or self-employed in some way, that actually bumps to 3 years. So there's differences in how you classify yourself in the way that you file taxes as to how you operate in the world when we start talking about the 9-to-5 job versus, you know, the side hustle, right? So when we go into this back and forth game, there's a lot of pros and cons to look at. So far we've kind of just broken down the job itself, at least the things that come out of it, right? What do I get out of this? The other part is, what do I have to put in? Okay, so the easy part is you don't have to figure it out. Somebody else is going to tell you what that job is, and they're going to pretty much show you how to do the job, and you just come in and you go through the motions and do the thing. You're not the decision maker, you're the implementer. Okay, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is you don't get paid to choose. The more you get paid to choose, the higher up that pay goes, but most people, considering leaving a job, are not really usually that high up. They're in a situation where, like, okay, I make just enough to get by, but not anything to thrive on, so I'm looking for additional income on the side, right? So having that decision-making process taken away and that stress taken away, all you have to do is show up and operate. You just implement and do the thing, and you get to go home at the end of the day. But what do you also have to give up and give to this company in order to make that happen? Well, if you have to go to the job, that means that you are giving up time driving. You also have to put miles on your vehicle driving and spend money on gas and new tires and all kinds of everything just to get to the job and back home. You may also have to buy special clothing. A lot of jobs have dress code where you have to wear certain things. You may also need to buy extra food to take with you to eat while you're there. All kinds of different things that go into what are you putting out in order to work at a physical location. Maybe you have to sit at a desk. Man, if you have to sit in a desk all day long, please make sure you stand up as often as you can, because that is actually a physical detriment on your body to have to sit there for long periods of time. So depending on the work environment, when I did roofing, for example, I was risking my life every day because I had to be up on top of a roof. And yeah, there's harness situations, but we didn't actually use harnesses most of the time because it slowed us down. And so it wasn't really, maybe the smartest choice, but there was a very high level of risk physically, not only to my health, but to my life in general. If you fall off a roof wrong, you could die. So depending on what it is that you have to give out to do a job is also part of this consideration, okay? And so when we accumulate the time, the money, the energy, the effort, and all of the outputs versus the inputs that we get with the guarantees and the lack of stress and decision making and all of the things that come with being handed the expectation of trading your time is going to guarantee dollars in your pocket, there's a definite list of pros and cons, right? Now, the other side of the fence is the entrepreneurial world. Well, this could be you selling your stuff on eBay by yourself, or this could be you creating training courses and having teams that you work with. This could be having physical storefront stores and you run, customer-based communication. Hey, buddy, walking. Little guy wants to know about it, right? Everybody wants to know, when can I leave my 9-to-5 job to get into this side hustle thing? So when you start looking at additional ways to earn income on top of your job, when the job comes first and you add the extra income piece on the side from monetizing something you're passionate about, you find something you're extremely interested in it, and you have a solution that solved a problem for you, and you want to share that with the world, that is what we're talking about here, is selling a product or service on the side on top of working at your regular job as a regular form of income. So if that is your situation and you're asking yourself the question, when should I look at moving from the 9-to-5 to the side hustle as a permanent gig? So for me, I like to separate things a little bit. Number one, in the way that you look at this whole situation, first of all. If we went back 50, 60, 70 years ago, the traditional way that people lived their lives was to go to a standard school, elementary, junior high, high school, and then you get out of high school and you go to college and you get a degree in one single area of expertise, and then you go out into the working world and you develop a career where you work 30 to 40 years for a company, and you do whatever is necessary to get to that retirement place where you then have, whatever retirement you have been able to save over that period of time, plus maybe Social Security or something, but it was like a very singular path. It was already designed for you. It was, this is the one thing that you do, and this is all you focus on, and this is supposed to be the everything. Now, this was 60 or 70 years ago, guys. If you haven't looked around, the world has changed in the way that it operates. And the way that we get into the exchanging of money is not the same way that it used to be back in the day. So trying to look at the situation the exact same way as to determining how it is that you live your life, you can't have that old mentality. And really what I'm talking about is the single income strategy. When should I leave the one income to have the other one income? That's kind of a silly question to me. Like, why can't you have both incomes? And the question is always time, okay? I only have so much time to put my focus into stuff. And if I'm putting all my time into my job, then I can't put very much time over into my side business. And if I'm able to leave my job, then I can put all my time into my side business. Okay, I get it. That's the conceptual conundrum that people get in about this question. But there is nothing to say that the way that you create income on the side, first of all, requires your time. Okay, and secondly, if that is the thing, then it is what it is. You run into a roadblock if you only have so much time. And so when we go into making the decisions, I do have a general rule that I'll tell you about here in a minute of how I kind of give some base numbers for people when they're looking for the easy answer. But I'm going to break this down a little bit more first so we can look at, what are the real pros and cons, right? And so again, with the 9 to 5, it's that guarantee emotionally. This is that thing that takes away the stress of worrying about trying to figure out what am I going to do and how am I going to pay my bills. Now, if your job sucks so bad it doesn't even pay your bills, then it's less and less pressure on you leaving that thing because it's already creating stress. So then you're just moving stress from one place to another to leave a job to pursue a side hustle. But if the job is already, creating financial stability, and this is also the second separation is new terminology, right? We used to have, and maybe you still do, and this is maybe a new concept for you, but you need to have two kinds of income. You need to have financial stability, which is having, again, the rent, the mortgage, the food, the cars, the basic life necessities paid for. That's financial stability. Once you get to the ability to pay for those things, the extra money that you have can go into lifestyle. Okay? Now, lifestyle for me is expenditure money that, is just done with whatever I want. It includes savings, it includes investing, it includes experience, all kinds of other stuff. Okay, once I got the regular stuff handled by my financial stability, then the extra money that I need to do all these other things can be made in another way. And if you are trying to roll your financial stability and your lifestyle money into a single income source, you're going to struggle. Unless you have some amazing, uniquely just untypical situation. Very rarely do we make enough money from a single income source to cover all of our financial needs, as well as all of the lifestyle, niceties that we want to put on ourselves, right? And so the very first thing is you want to look for, how can I create multiple streams of income? How can I get money from more than one place? Because if you have all your eggs in one basket and that basket goes down, you are in a big world of hurt. You're at a job that is the only way that you make money and you lose that job, holy cow, are you screwed? Then you're scrambling like you have never done before to get any other crappy job that you can just accept and settle for, because you got to put some kind of money on the table, even if it wasn't as good as what you had before, whatever the situation is. Okay, so first of all, relying on one income source is a death trap. It probably isn't even enough to give you financial stability on your own. That's why you were looking probably to do something else on the side, right? Maybe you have 2 jobs. Maybe you have 3 jobs. There's some people that are absolutely crazy. At one point, I had 7 because I was doing so many different things to try and make up the difference. But they were all time for dollars trading, and so it was really difficult to scale. I can only have so much time in the day. I can only make so many dollars from that. And so if you want to make more money than the trading time for dollars thing, then you need to trade services or products for payment. And that can be done on an automated scale that allows you to actually make more than just, a nominal denomination. But that's not where I'm going with this, okay? So we've got a lot of, pros and cons in both sides of the employment game and in the self-employment game. When you go into employment, you get the guarantees of knowing that you got money coming into your pocket, but you have to sacrifice a lot of your time and, maybe passion. Maybe you don't really even enjoy what you're doing as part of the exchange for that confidence, for that knowing that I'm going to have the basics taken care of. And that itself is worth so much. If you have a job that does not require you to stress about how you're also going to put food on the table after you have paid the mortgage, that is a pretty good job, okay? Now, what you have to do for that job, maybe it sucks really, really bad and you're risking your life doing it. There's different things that you're going to need to consider in this whole questionnaire, right? But on the other side of the table, when you are the guy creating a business, or girl, whoever, if you are the person creating a side hustle, regardless of what it is, whether you make little bracelets and sell them on Etsy, or you record training courses on how to be the best fisherman and sell them on Udemy, I don't really care what it is that you do as a product or service offer. But when you are the person responsible for creating the thing and promoting the thing and selling it and fulfilling on it and customer servicing and all of the pieces that go into a business, there's a lot of responsibility put on your plate. And especially when you're by yourself, you're the only one, there's nobody else to rely on in the beginning. You are trading still time for not even a guarantee of dollars. Okay, so if you can figure out the whole process and you can even get it to a point where what you have is being demanded and it's seemingly good quality because you have more than one person has bought it and no one's tried to burn your business down. The world we live in, people just get so uptight about absolutely everything, so you really have to over-deliver in business these days. But if you figure it out and you're able to create something that is actually profitable as a business standpoint, then you still have ups and downs, right? There's no guarantee of how many sales you're going to make. Some months it may be $200, some months it may be $2,000, some months it may be $20,000. I don't know what you're selling. I don't know how good you are, but there is always going to be an up and a down in the expenses and the income, okay? So it leaves so much uncertainty boiling around inside of you because you don't know how good or how bad the outcome is going to be. Where on that employee side, boom, it's an even keel. I make the exact same amount every single time that I put in this amount of time. And so it's an easy one to see, that uncertainty versus certainty, how powerful that is. Okay? But if you figure it out and you say get into the game of paid advertising and you learn how Facebook's algorithm works and you know who your target market is and you've created a custom audience and you've got your retargeting pixel firing and everything is just lining out and your ROIs are on point and you're able to just put your offer in front of the right people and you got your follow-up sequence that converts your leads into an actual sale, and then you can upsell them with the additional problem-solving factors, the whole 9 yards. Like, you're awesome at this. If you figured that out, then you can actually exchange less time for more dollars. You can sell something over and over and over that it took one amount of time to put together, okay? And this is the ideal situation. And so if you can get to this situation, first of all, then you're in the right mode. Okay, you're going in the right direction. And so what I'm going to make assumptions on before I finish this off and tell you the answer to the question of when can I leave my 9 to 5 and hit my side hustle as a full-time, I'm going to make two assumptions. Number one, that your full-time job, your 9 to 5, is something that is already paying your bills and creating that financial stability. And number two, that you have a converting offer on your side hustle. Okay? So you're creating the financial stability on the 9 to 5 side, and you figured out how to be profitably creating lifestyle money on the other side, on the side hustle. Okay? So that is my assumptions that I'm going into the answer with this. And so I want you guys to understand this because there's so many variables. For example, if you are that converting offer and you have a business that's actually making you money, if you are using something that you don't control in order for that to happen, say paid advertising, and you have mastered the Facebook algorithm, and then it changes, that's actually something not within your control. And it could immediately drop your sales, like overnight. I've seen it happen hundreds of times because these companies don't have those ads running for you. They have them running for the advertisers. Okay? So they have a different mode that they want to operate from in order to control the game, and they're cool with changing that whenever it needs to be better for them. So if there's factors that are out of your control that you don't know is going to happen and things change, you can have a big swing in what your income is. On top of that, there can also be things like seasonal, for example. I sell a lot of sales funnels, and during certain seasons, certain ones sell more because people are interested in those products around a certain time frame, right? So depending on what it is that you're offering, there could be a high season, a low season, a nothing season, whatever. So when you are in the business world, you incur a lot of those stresses that require you to take the impact of that up and down effect on the business. Whereas the employee, whoever you are working for, is taking on that stress for you. All right, so when you go into this decision of, I've got this job that's been paying my bills, and I've got this side hustle that seems to be working for me, I love what I do, all of these sorts of things. When you try to tip the scale of pros and cons towards needing to have that side hustle be the only thing, the thing that I am leaving my only other source of income, I'm saying you've got one job and one side hustle. Sometimes people got 3 or 4 side hustles and 2 or 3 jobs. I'm not going to go into every scenario, okay? But if you are leaving your one job for your one side hustle, here's my rule of thumb. Now, you guys have listened for quite a long time. I'm going to give you the actual answer that I feel is something that you can consider as a way to kind of make this a generalized decision on going down this full-time road. So, 3X, first of all. Whatever you are making at your job that is currently covering your bills, I would highly recommend that you make at least 3 times that much on the side before you start asking yourself this question of, should I make the full-time shift? Okay, so for example, if you make $50,000 a year and that is paying all of your bills and you're, okay with covering what you need to, and you start a side hustle, if you can make $150,000 per year from that, then I would be fairly comfortable saying that you could consider leaving your full-time job to go over and make that $150,000. Now, again, there's also caveats. There's always extra factors to consider. But number one is, if you are able to have the income that would get you to $150,000 coming in, so that would be, math in my head the top here is about $20,000 a month. That's not right. No, about $12,000 a month or so. I don't know, we'll say $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Whatever that number is on a monthly basis that would add up to that 150. If you can make that amount of money per month for at least 6 months, then that means that you are on your way to earning that amount of money per year, right? And so if you are able to get to that situation where you can say, okay, after 6 months, I have been putting my time in at my job, and I've been putting my however much time into my side hustle, and I've been able to get myself to this place of earning 3 times as much on the side as I am from my job on a monthly basis. I think that if I put more time into my side hustle, that I could make even more money. All right, so number one is you're leaving a job because of the time, and buying your time back is the reason you want to make more money, but you're also leaving the guarantee, continuing to trade that amount of time for a guaranteed amount of money. So if you feel that putting another, 30 to 40 hours into your side hustle will increase your income by at least 33% more than what you're already making, right? That's the math behind it. Once you make 3x on the side, your income is 1/3 of that as an equivalency. So you would have to increase your income by another 1/3 of that, of your side hustle income, in order to make up that difference. Now, if you have to put an additional 30 to 40 hours into your business in order to make that happen, then you probably don't have a very good team set up to help you do things. And so you need to look at some different situations of how to run the business that don't require you to put the time in, all right? But if you are just killing yourself stress-wise because you have done all the things and sacrificed the time, and it's now at a point where you're making this 3x revenue, you've been doing it for 6 months, so this isn't a fluke. We've gone through a seasonal change of things, and we're still continuing to grow and do better, and it just needs more of my focus. I can't keep my mental game on both sides. Then it might be something to consider, all right? But most of the time, it needs to be on such an astronomically different scale. Like, to have one job that I left for another job, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. I would leave a job making $50,000 a year if that job was horrible and I was able to go get a job making the exact same amount of money, but doing something that I like doing better. That's really easy because it's apples to apples. It's one guaranteed scenario moving into another guaranteed scenario with a lot of the same benefits, right? But when you go from a place of handed stability in the financial structure of your life, and then also, looking at an unstable place with the possibility of more, it's not an apples to apples comparison. So before you leave something that you may not enjoy doing as much to go do something that you love absolutely doing all the time, also consider this, that a passion is something you enjoy doing semi-frequently. But there's a saying that is too much of a good thing. And so if you do something all the time, relentlessly, eventually you get kind of tired of doing it. And so if you're leaving a job to go into a side hustle because you love the side hustle so much, but you require everything out of that side hustle, the fulfillment of enjoyment, the financial stability, the everything, you can actually burn yourself out on it a lot faster than you intended to. So I just highly recommend to really make a big consideration in all of the factors. Really put at least a 3 times factor on the income for at least 6 months before you make that decision to leave something of stability to move into something of instability for the possibility of growth. So I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions on this, definitely hit me up. I appreciate getting back with you and hearing your feedback on this, because these are life-altering decisions when you start talking about how do I create income in my world. So if you guys need help with this, you got some questions, hit me up below, and I will see you next time.